This man descended over 1,000 feet below the ground through tight, claustrophobic passages in the not well-explored Intimachay Cave in Peru. He didn't expect to get into a situation where he couldn't return, staying at the very bottom of the cave. Today's video is an intensely harrowing story of Cecilio López. Cecilio López Tercero grew up exploring caves, but it quickly became evident that he possessed a unique talent for navigating through tight, treacherous spaces with an unwavering fearlessness. His friends often marveled at his ability to lead expeditions, mapping out the dangers and uncovering the hidden wonders within the earth. Cecilio's remarkable memory and relentless drive to discover and document new caves in pursuit of archaeological treasures became his life's passion. As some caves have remained unexplored for millennia, Cecilio saw it as his duty to venture into these ancient labyrinths and share his findings with the world. He yearned for recognition, hoping to etch his name in the annals of history. His adventures had taken him to Mexico, Uzbekistan, Italy, and beyond. But it was Peru that beckoned him the most, with its unexplored, technical, and deep cave systems. One day, during lunch with a friend near his home in Spain, Cecilio learned about Intimachay Cave, a mysterious cave in northern Peru. Its name, meaning Cave of the Sun in the local Quechua language, was a place rarely visited due to its daunting navigation challenges. When his friend mentioned that it was the second deepest cave in Peru, rumored to hold immense archaeological potential, Cecilio was instantly captivated. The race was on for him to be the first to explore its uncharted depths. Hurrying home after lunch, Cecilio immersed himself in learning everything about Intimachay Cave. By the end of August 2013, he had assembled a small team of explorers for a volunteer mission to conquer this formidable cave. He warned them of the extreme dangers, which included ropes being necessary for most of the navigation, the cave's narrow spaces, its shafts being claustrophobic and more than 1,100 feet deep. Sharp rocks and deep pits lurked throughout, with temperatures dropping below 50 degrees Fahrenheit and humidity at a stifling 100%. Navigating its meandering confined walls would test even the most experienced explorers. Cecilio secured the necessary permits and permissions to enter the sacred Intimachay Cave, a site used as a burial ground and off-limits to foreigners due to its protected areas. The cave's significance intensified Cecilio's fascination with the Chachapoyas culture, compelling him to gather as much material for the museum as possible. On Monday, September 8, 2014, Cecilio and his team arrived at the Intimachay Cave, located approximately 20 hours north of Lima by car. As they set up camp, an air of childlike wonder and excitement filled the team, eager to make history. Each day, they meticulously explored the cave, passing through the children's room section, delving around 300 feet deep, and uncovering numerous archaeological treasures. After 10 days of fruitful exploration, they reached a point called Teresita Room. The expedition seemed to be going exceptionally well, and they began preparing for their final descent. Cecilio, along with two colleagues, set out to explore the deepest section of the cave. The team was exhilarated, knowing this was their final chance to discover an unseen part of the cave and potentially make a groundbreaking archaeological find. Loaded with gear, primarily ropes and harnesses, they navigated the hot, sticky entrance, sweat dripping off Cecilio's forehead as they climbed over boulders and maneuvered through the horizontal shaft. Dust clung to their sweat-soaked clothes as Cecilio led the way, maintaining a brisk pace. Reaching a central vertical shaft, they anchored themselves and descended without issues. Determined to push beyond their original plan, they ventured further into the cave, attempting to descend to an unprecedented depth of 1,100 feet that had never been explored before. This uncharted and dangerous section demanded utmost caution. The team contorted their bodies through tight tunnels and narrow passages, ever vigilant for any ancient remains. Taking a brief respite before tackling a technical descent, they set up a makeshift camp at a midpoint called Loss of the River, reminiscing about their incredible journey while eating. Refocused, they faced the critical task of navigating the next section and finally hoped to reach the final destination called 13 Days Room. The cave wall they planned to anchor to seemed stable but posed a risk. If the anchor failed, anyone attached would plummet into a rock pit. One teammate assisted Cecilio in securing the anchor. As Cecilio began his descent, he suddenly heard a shift in the rock. Bracing for impact, he fell 15 feet, hitting the cave floor with a loud thud. Miraculously, he avoided the sharp rocks but lay on the cold, uneven ground, pain shooting up his spine. Cecilio's yelp echoed through the cave as he realized the severity of his injury. Stars danced before his eyes as he processed what had happened. It was a few broken ribs and an incomplete fracture of his third lumbar vertebra. Immobilized by the excruciating pain, the prospect of climbing out on his own seemed impossible. He was trapped. Cecilio realized he couldn't feel his legs, and absolute terror began to set in. One of his teammates carefully worked his way down to Cecilio, who couldn't believe this was happening to him. As time passed, Cecilio's mind cleared, and he started to think about a possible rescue and whether it could happen at all. The group decided that one teammate would exit the cave to request help while the other stayed with Cecilio. Immobilized, all he could do was stare at a stone on the cave ceiling for 5 agonizing days. Finally, after nearly a week of extreme pain, a Peruvian medical team reached Cecilio, administering morphine as a temporary relief until he could be extracted and taken to a proper medical facility. Unfortunately, extracting Cecilio from the cave would be incredibly difficult. A unique rigid stretcher, designed to protect him from further injury, was required. This stretcher needed a built-in harness to keep him in position, which was crucial for navigating the vertical shafts and avoiding collisions with the cave walls. Outside the cave, Cecilio's teammates realized the complexity of the rescue operation. The Spanish government initially denied an immediate rescue. Desperate, the teammates appealed to the Peruvian government. If they refused, the cave would become Cecilio's tomb. The team then turned to the Madrid Caving Federation, which, along with social media, pressured the Spanish government to act swiftly. Eventually, a group of Cecilio's caving friends decided to fly to Peru to rescue him themselves. They coordinated with the first wave of rescuers, followed by volunteers from all over Spain. The rescue operation began a few days later, but only highly skilled spelunkers could enter the cave due to the extreme dangers. A camp was set up outside the cave entrance, situated at 9,000 feet above sea level, amid horrible weather with constant rain. The remote location posed significant logistical challenges, including shortages of food, water, transportation, communication equipment, blankets, and horses. Local villagers helped as much as they could, with a nearby town priest offering a cow for the rescue team to eat. Experts noted that the lack of knowledge about the cave added to the complexity. More technical rescue teams had to come from abroad. The operation, coordinated by a colonel from Peru's Emergency Management Agency, involved experts from Italy, France, Mexico, and about 40 Peruvian soldiers and firefighters. Rescuers descended into the cave and explained the rescue plan to Cecilio, detailing how they would extract him and the technical rope setup they would install in the cave's rock walls for anchoring. A camp was established 900 feet deep in the cave. The setup and planning took 12 days before they were ready to strap Cecilio to the stretcher and start the extraction. Throughout this entire time, Cecilio remained immobilized at the bottom of the cave, enduring constant, excruciating pain. Finally, using the extensive rigging system, the rescue team began the painstaking process of extracting Cecilio from the cave. Outside, in heavy winds, a Peruvian Air Force helicopter transported Cecilio to a medical center. After months of complicated medical treatments, Cecilio made a full recovery. Remarkably, he planned to continue exploring caves in the area, undeterred by his near-death experience.